Hello. Well, this is interesting. Of course, I kind of knew this. World trade collapsed. Why did it collapse? Well, look at this. What, 6 bolts holding that together? There's no welding around the whole perimeter, and there should be welding around the whole perimeter, as well as a section that would fit over the weld, and that welded as well. At least a foot high box area, shape of this, to the other, and welded as well. Wow. The bolts. Look how it's bent. So the whole thing fell down, and all those bits and pieces. Wow. Sad. Very sad. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bolt holes in this guy. So it must have been up higher, in the higher areas of the World Trade Center. Maybe the top story or something like that, huh? So these sections simply just broke apart and fell down along the floor, and you see the flanges are all bent to hell. Look how small those flanges are for the trusses. That's pretty sad. So when these buckled and fell apart by these bolts, you see how they're bent, and the other ones towards the ground are simply snapped and fell down inside the columns, where the other ones bent. It didn't fall down inside the columns. Totally stripped, broken from all that weight. This snapped, and the other ones fell down inside the columns. Amazing. Okay, this is underneath the floor. These are these trusses that got hot, sagged, pulled the sections of the box beams towards it, and then boom, compound, bang, 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 all the way down to the ground. This looked like a snapped beam. I think this is a memorial. Okay. Bolts literally ripped out of the steel here. And also above that, you can see the welded like that. That's terrible. As it broke apart, the bolt snapped. Again, more snap bolts in these box beams, outer perimeter beams. They kind of just snapped, fell apart, and all fell down in a big mess. Interesting configuration. This is actually from NIST FOIA investigations. Angle of the beams falling down. That would never happen if those beams were welded together with a band of extra steel around it and extra welding. Oh God, these bolts look like a loose fit. That's bad engineering as well. So, as you see all the mess of bolts twisted all around. Huh. I wonder if these things were welded. Looks like it's coming apart. I think it probably was welded. The box. Another photo. Another odd shaped strip piece of metal. Quite amazing in that I'm not sure exactly what this part is, but they're filming it underneath the beam. This connection here, it's just totally ripped right out. Bolts held, but it's ripped out. Whatever that part is, kind of bent in too, and it's pretty thick metal. Totally bent piece, heavy steel, coming kind of fraying apart a little bit here, and some indentation. Some interesting bolts. I wonder why 2 are missing here. Or yeah, 2. Not too sure, but this looks like maybe they're trying to film a bolt in there. It's really mangled up these bolts. From watching the video, these are screenshots in the video. I think that NIST foil, National Institute of Standards Technology are highly interested in this bolt system here. So they're very interested in these lines. You see these lines here? That's welding. That's weak welding on a plate that ripped apart. Wow. So this is not a solid beam or box iron. It's welded. You can see the weld marks there on top of the curled up piece. So that's another very bad kind of engineering situation. Another box beams is just simply ripped apart. Improper welding, by the way, I think. End of a box beam that interested the NIST group. This is writing on one of the box beams, by the way. Gave the engineers some information. He said it told some information, but not all information. NIST scientists were highly interested in this weird welding. Unbelievable, you weld a beam together, come on. Or part of a beam, pretty sad. So what I can gather from all this is that why the World Trade Centers collapsed. Simply bolts, bad design, improper welding inside the beams, or weird stuff like that. So, also applicable to Building 7, its construction. So these snapped. The floor trusses joined by very weak brackets. It's really sad stuff. So that's my opinion. I don't care what you say. No thermite, no directed weapons, none of that nonsense, no dynamite and all that crazy crap that psychotics like to brag about all the time. Blah, 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 blah. This evidence is evidence. Truth is truth. No point in making stuff up. Reality comprehension disorder. Reality is a bitch sometimes, isn't it? So people make up their own little stories and adventures, which they're entitled to do. So I presented this, and from the NIST group, who examined the scrap heap at Fresh Kills landfill, they seem to be very interested in why beams break apart of the welds and why all these pieces snap like that. As I said before, it should have been welded all around, as well as a bracket around it and welded also. It wouldn't have collapsed. It's my opinion. It might have been quite distorted, but because fire makes steel malleable. That's why blacksmiths hammer it when it's hot. Forging. Can you say forging? Anyways, a victim of something a long time ago, not a victim, but an observer of the Iron Memorial Bridge or Second Arrows Bridge, which collapsed like this, sort of, but different in a different way. Beams similar, to all twisted apart and all that. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay? Great. Thank you. And these, all these bolts are going to loose fit, for Pete's sake, as well. It's kind of weird, but it'll come out in the wash sooner or later, I'm sure of it. Well, thanks for your attention on this tragic story. You gotta know that aircraft would have many foot-tons of energy coming out at high speed like that. Measured in many foot-tons. Oh, but the Empire State... No, that was built different. Empire State Building. And smaller aircraft. Oh, but... Oh, yeah. welding dust and everything else was found in the debris, and they thought, oh, well, must be thermite. No, 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 come on. I really hate conspiracy people that deviate from the truth. I don't like them, and I don't want to listen to them. I run away as fast as I can. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Take care. Cheers, cheers, cheers.